What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about why exotic car values are going down. Now notice I said values, not prices. So this is going to be a good and bad video. Good if you're an enthusiast that's looking at buying maybe an exotic car, classic car. Bad if you have a collection or you're looking at selling your car in the future. So we're going to give you a breakdown of currently what's going in the market, why the prices are going down, and the reasons behind why the values of exotic cars are dropping. But before I do, if you could do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for YouTube algorithm, and also find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. We post 2 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and let's get into the video. So I have a very fun and unusual hobby. I like to pick out a handful of cars and then I watch them run at the auction to get values. And I compare that with last week, last month, 6 months ago, 1 year ago. Now, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be that crazy about it. You can go to MMR, you can go to Kelly Wholesale Blue Book, you can go to NADA, Black Book, all these ones, and they'll show you something similar. But the reason why I do this is because I like to spot the trends before the overall market starts to catch on. And one thing that I've noticed is exotic car pricing going down. Now, I currently own a 2021 Audi R8, and I love to watch those things go through the auction. But one thing I've noticed since March of this last year is about a $35,000 price reduction. So as I'm watching the market go down, I started picking up more and more exotic cars. We sold a Rolls-Royce Wraith at auction. We actually got decent money for it, but I watched that car drop almost $30,000 while we were repairing it. It took us about a month and a half to get all the parts from London. So we got all those parts in, fixed it, but then we lost $30,000 in value when we took it to the auction. Now, this latest one I'm going to tell you about, we just recently sold about a month ago. It's a 2021 Aston Martin Vantage with like 8,000 miles. I took it to auction. MMR was $138,000. I ran it, it got a bid of like $105,000. So at that time, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna run this through Carvana, CarMax, GimmeTheVin.com, and a few other places to see which one will pay me the most money. Well, I ran it through GimmeTheVin.com and they actually offered me $130,000. I was like, cool, it's like 128, I think, and change. So I said, perfect, I'll just take this and get rid of the car. So I pulled the car to the auction. You have to have the car registered in your name, so I had to send off for a title in my name. While the 2.5 weeks, while I was waiting for the DMV to send me my paperwork, because it took forever to go with their repo documentation, I finally got the title, went into GimmeTheVin.com, and they literally offered me 2.5 weeks later for the exact same car, $102,000. Blew my mind. I was like, what happened to the $130,000 value? Why did it go down to, X amount of dollars? And they're like, oh, it's because the market's dropping, everything else, and they have multiple exotic cars that are not selling in Miami, Houston, Dallas, LA, and Seattle. And they're basically explaining to me that they're getting their asses handed to them when it comes to the exotic cars. So I wound up letting that one go and just saying, whatever, I'll just get another one. I got a really good backup book, so I wasn't really worried too about it. But making a $30,000 loss hurts. But like I said, I got it for a good deal. A lot of these exotic car dealers have these cars on their inventory and they're sitting on them. Now remember, we went over our last video about the carrying costs. Carrying cost on a regular car is very cheap, but if you have a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or even $1 million car on your line of credit, you're talking massive interest and massive payments. So this is going to be very similar to how the prices are not going down because a lot of these dealers can't afford to take a $30,000, $40,000 loss. Now, this is what we're currently seeing at the auction, but this is a dealer auction, so I know you guys can't see that. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, Melio. They have a great service for you to explore if you're a business owner like me. Running a YouTube channel and my other businesses is extremely time consuming, and there's so many things to do, you definitely don't want to waste all your time trying to pay bills. Which is why I use Melio to help save me time and make my business payments easier than ever before. Melio is a simple, easy to use payment platform specifically made for small businesses. There are no setup or subscription fees. You can choose your preferred method. You can pay your vendors with either bank transfer or credit card. Yes, that's right. You can use your credit card when credit cards are not accepted. You can get that extra cash back and earn points and miles on all your business expenses. All you have to do is add a vendor, upload the either bill or invoice, and decide if you want to pay with card or bank transfer, and that's it. Your vendor doesn't have to be a Melio user to get paid. Melio will send them whatever payment method they take with no additional work on your end or theirs. You can also make international payments to over 80 countries all over the world. So try it yourself for free, grab a business bill bill, upload it to Melio, and schedule your first payment. Use my link and join the future today and start using Melio to make your payments. Go to go.melio.com/lucky, and I want to thank Melio so much for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. So I know you guys can't see what goes on in dealer auctions, so we're going to talk about two auctions that are open to the public. That's Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids. Now, back in March of this year, I sold my crazy lifted smart car for $25,000. This is when the market was at its all-time high. I was expecting to get maybe 10, maybe 12,000, but 25 grand. So what happened was everybody got so hyped, they started putting their cars up for crazy amounts of reserves, and they were bringing them. But what happened after that? We watched the market slow down. So much so that Doug DeMuro actually went on his channel and talked about how the car market is not as hot as what it used to be. People need to be realistic and start dropping the reserves. But did people do that? No. People were like, well, I saw this car sell in February for 75 grand. I want 75 grand or 85 grand for my car. They put it online, gets a top bid of $55,000. And they get upset, and what happens? It runs again and again and again. So you can literally watch all the cars that were going for crazy money, and you can Google these things because it's all on the internet. Watch these crazy cars that people bought on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer and try to resell them again and get half of what they actually paid for it. It's insane. And that's what's going on in the market. It's slowly basically winding down. Now, I tried to go on Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids and put up a 68 Camaro that I bought way back a book. The thing is an amazing car. It's a LS3 powered, just an insane beast 68 Camaro. Now, I know this car is worth way more than 25 grand, but I wanted to put my reserve at 25. They would not allow me to put a reserve on the car. They would only allow me to post it if I put no reserve. Now, I understand they don't want to have overinflated prices and stuff like that. And I told them, you can do your research. You can see cars like this go for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I just want to put a 25 grand reserve because that's what I need to get out of it. Anything above that, I'm happy with. And they would not do that. They are so worried of people putting these crazy high reserves that people will never meet that it will basically affect the market, which it already has. So let's talk about the reasons why the market is slowing down. Now, I know a lot of people think it's because the stimulus ballers ran out of money and the government pumped a bunch of free money out there, but that's not the case. When it comes to exotic and classic cars, these are more, I guess, people in a higher tax bracket, more educated consumers, as well as a higher credit threshold of consumers. Because remember, buying an exotic car or a classic car, getting a loan for those is very, very hard, which we'll go into here in a minute. So the main reason is the economy. Now, these are financially educated people. So when they see the market slowing down and we're going into recession, they're not going to just hand out their checkbook and start buying cars that they don't need. It's a depreciating asset. It's not something that makes them money. So most educated consumers stand back and wait to see what happens with the market. And that's affecting it probably the most. I've seen a lot of my friends, just like myself, liquidate their exotic cars, sit back on the sidelines, and they're waiting because they know that they're going to be able to get a deal very soon. I had a friend of mine, he had 3 Uruses for his exotic rental company. He put them all up for sale. He bought them, I think, almost 60, 70 grand over MSRP. And then I think he got almost that out of it. So he lucked out. But like I've seen in the last 2 months, Uruses dropped 20%. I mean, it's insane. I remember you couldn't get one for under like 270 grand at the auction. I think now I've seen some with like higher miles, like 20, 30,000 miles for the low 200s to like high 190s. It's insane. But that market totally slipped up and went the other way. So the second reason why the market is slowing down is because of the stock market and crypto. Now, I've never seen a bigger demographic jump into the exotic car market than this last year than with all the people that made a bunch of money with either stock or crypto. These were people that made large amounts of money in a short amount of time, and they just had all this crazy money and they wanted to jump in. So those are the people paying $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 over MSRP for exotic, highline, and classic cars. So this just inflated the market even more. But as these guys have lost, I'm sure you guys see Bitcoin has dropped an insane amount. The stock market's down 30%. And I know the NFT market is down, I think, as a whole, 92% or something like that. So the fun, easy, disposable money that they had before is completely gone. And I won't mention names, but a lot of the people that I've seen dumping their cars are a lot of these financial day traders from YouTube and these crypto geniuses that were, bragging that, they can make money in any market and blah, blah, blah. They're all dumping their cars because they can't afford them. They don't have they can't afford the insurance, two, the liability. So I have a buddy of mine that runs a hedge fund, and he always tells me that everybody's a genius in the bull market. So as these guys got exposed, now they don't have the money, they can't afford their cars, the market is completely changing. Now, the third reason why the market is going down is because of the banks. Now, remember, getting an exotic car is extremely hard. You had to have multiple paid off auto loans. You had to have something over $100,000 paid off. You had to have a good down payment down. You have to be sometimes a homeowner. Multiple things have to check the boxes. But during the pandemic, they loosened up a lot of the lending. When I went to go buy my Audi, I put about $80,000 down. I traded in my Mercedes-AMG GTS, and that was pretty much my down payment on my car. They told me that I only had to put down $10,000. I qualified for 84 to 96 month payments, and I was like, why would I do that? I'll be buried in this car. So I declined it, paid whatever, walked away. But there was a lot of banks during the pandemic that were just getting stupid. There's 10-year auto loans. If you look up Woodside Credit, they were taking on people. But regular banks like iaai, Wells Fargo were doing 84 and 96 months on exotic cars and some classic cars, which blew my mind. And then on top of that, there was all these leasing companies that came out in 2021 and in the beginning of this year that were doing these crazy, stupid leases with exotic cars and classic cars, because at that time it worked. If you put $20,000, $30,000 down, they would give you a monthly payment. You can use your business to put it on, and it would save you money with sales tax and leasing, and you're only going to keep it for 2 years. Now that model works great when the economy is good and when your vehicle value is going up. But now that it's shooting down, those people lost their asses. I tried to find a few of them online, their websites are already gone. So now that the banks are losing their money, and these repos of exotic cars are starting to hit the market. Now, I know you're thinking, well, there can't be that many exotic cars that are getting repoed. All the time. Every day, every week, you can go to any auction across the United States. You will see a handful of exotic cars, classic cars, and highline cars. People just can't afford them. They're over leveraged. And what they're doing now is, remember, we talked about deficiencies. So deficiency is what they lent the customer for the car, what the value is, and then the money in the middle. So if they lent the customer $300,000 on their Lamborghini Urus and they got $210,000 at the auction, they have to eat that whatever $80,000, $90,000 in deficiency. That's a huge chunk of money to lose. So once banks take 2 or 3 whacks at that, they stop all type of funding. I remember going back to iaai because I was going to go finance. I put an order in for a new Lamborghini Technica, and I wanted to see if they would finance it, and they told me no. Before, about 6 months ago, they said that they'd be willing to do it. I just have to trade in my other car. Now, from what happened from then till now, the market completely shifted. Even though I'm buying a brand new car at MSRP that's going to be worth $100,000 more the second I drive it off the lot because some knucklehead's still going to overpay for it, they would not want to extend that type of financing on that particular car. Anything else I want, if I want a brand new regular car, if I want a brand new motorcycle, they have no problem. Give me a line of credit, whatever they want. But they will not do exotic cars or classic cars. So I reached out to Navy Fed. Same thing. They're like, hey, look, we'll do it up to X amount of dollars. We'll do like $150,000 to $180,000 at most. PenFed, they're willing to negotiate a little bit more, but the rate's not as good as what I was hoping. So as we go down this road, the credit noose is tightening, and it's getting harder and harder to get funding for these cars. So what does that mean? That all the people that want these cars, that want to flash on social media, really can't afford them. So they're going to have to either pay a big down payment, which most people don't got, or they're going to have to go to these loan sharks like what I talked about in my other video. If you guys don't know, getting an exotic car loan is extremely hard. So if you just hit the jackpot, or let's say you're a professional athlete and you just signed a $5 million, $10 million contract, even if you had the money in your bank and you could show the dealership, they will still not finance you. You have to put like $200,000 down on like a $250,000 car, and then they will finance you. So what most of these athletes and celebrities and YouTubers do is they use these leasing companies or these like basically loan sharks to buy the cars for them. They charge them, a high interest rate, and then they make the regular down payments and crazy high monthly payments to these guys. But that's what's being done. So unfortunately, if you're looking at getting into the exotic car market or you want to buy a classic car, just get ready for that. If you're not a well-qualified customer with a high 700 score or a low 800, and you're not putting at least 50% down, it's going to get scary when it comes to financing in the next 6 to 8 months. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you guys what your thoughts and opinions are of the situation. And even if your opinion is different from mine, that's okay. We could still be friends. But please put it in the down section below or comment section below. If you see anything in your market, or if you've had similar things where you tried to sell one of your exotic cars and the price came back too low or too high, I'd love to hear about it. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow us on Instagram @LuckyLopez, and we'll see you next time.